Hey guys, today I'm going to do another video on these magazines I just got. I just picked up a whole bunch of M1 Carbine magazines. We were just out down taking a day trip and found a whole bunch of M1 Carbine mags that were selling for less than $5 a piece. We got Winchesters, Inlands, quality hardwares, just all sorts of kinds of magazines, and we picked them up for a steal just because they're all kind of got some surface rust on them. So I'm going through and just cleaning them all up. Some of them are worse than others, but they're all in pretty good serviceable shape. Got a bunch of some 30 rounders that were down there too. These are commercial, but these were all GI mil-spec World War II magazines. So I'm going through and cleaning them up. Pretty much we're just using, here's one I've already done. This one, the rust took off the finish, but still super clean on the inside. Kind of gave the spring some extra tension, and I think it's going to be good for shooting. This is another one. This is another one I cleaned up. This one was pretty rusty, a bunch of surface rust. You can see the only real finish loss I have is around the feed lips, but overall, like, it cleaned up. It's not bad for like a $3 magazine that somebody else didn't want to clean up. So cleaned up all the interior parts, the floor plate and the feed ramp, and then the spring I just retensioned it just by pulling it apart. So we're going to take another one of these Inland, another one of these that's an A1. That's an A1 magazine. It's got a little bit of mixture of cosmoline. It's actually really sticky right here. So that's like a mixture of cosmoline and rust. But overall, like, I think that rust is going to come off and this is going to clean up really nice. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to pop this little feed ramp off. Take the spring out. These springs are really weak. They've been sitting in storage for a long time. The guy said that if you see there, I just rocked that out. It just comes right out. The interior of the magazine is not really that bad. Little bit of dirt and stuff in there, but no rust. So I had been using this Hoppy's gun cleaner just to see how it would do. I just had no idea how it would do. Got like a little M16 gun cleaning kit brush that I've been using. Use just a regular screwdriver. I don't know, I've been getting a bunch of just random gun cleaning materials, so had a bunch of these laying around. So this is basically just a little tube of this stuff, so I've been just trying to use these up. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on here. I'm going to put a little bit on this. Let's see, that's the... Actually doesn't have any rust on it, so that's nice. This doesn't actually have any rust on it either. That's just gunk. So we're just gonna let that sit on there. I'm gonna spread this out a little bit, kind of get it all on there and let it start eating away at it. So that way when we get to this side, hopefully it'll already be broke down. I'm using a little bit of, I was really worried that the steel wool was going to scratch them up and take off any finish that was already there, but they've actually been doing pretty good. Been using steel wool. I've got a little bit of a chunk of Brillo pad, and mainly just using the toothbrush. The toothbrush is actually doing really well, at least getting the loose stuff off. So I think we're just going to do a quick time lapse of me cleaning this video, so y'all enjoy. And then this is the part where you'd probably do a time loop. Does the lighting look okay? And honestly, like, this might be like satisfying for people. Like, you could just do like, we probably could post this to like my gun mode channel on my phone. See, that cleaned up really good. Isn't that crazy? That was all that junk was right there. That's all gone. So really all we have left on this one is that little spot right there. So we're gonna go a little bit more directly on that. This time we're gonna use probably some steel wool. Something a little bit more aggressive, trying to knock it down, because it's fighting me a little bit, but it'll come off. I like to wipe these off periodically just to see how I'm looking, because, like, you know, just wiping off that little bit, you can tell like the rust is pretty much, I got all the rust just about. I got a little bit left to clean up, but you can see like I got most of it off of there. Now you can see, you know, it ate through the finish just a little bit, you know, but you can tell it's not really that bad. Not for what we saw before. So I'm gonna go back and just kind of touch this up really quick and try and clean my brush a little bit. I kind of have a get the most of it rag, and then I've got kind of like a finish rag, just so I'm not let me use the sprayer this time. These are really cleaning up really nice. I mean, just for the money you paid, like I said, we probably got about 40 of these. Just sitting in a little basket there on the bottom shelf behind a whole bunch of other stuff that nobody else wanted. And I just love finding little finds like that. You know, love being able to wheel and deal and make something happen, you know. Alright, I'm gonna let that chemical sit on there. I already sprayed no, I don't think I did. I'm gonna spray the inside. You can see that I think it's just a little bit of gunk, some sand and dirt in there. Nothing too bad. But I'm just gonna run my brush in there. Try to get any of it loosened up and broke out. Especially around these feed lips. That's where most of it's at. Interesting thing about the M1 Carbine is it was really designed to take over the 1911. The 1911 was just kind of getting really expensive. They were really trying to do everything they could to cut down on costs, and they needed a way to mass produce these rifles. And 1911 was a good pistol. They loved it. It's just they needed something that was more specifically designed for the troops that were in the rear. And of course, you know, officers or tankers, mortared people, and problem is that these guns became really handy. You know, you got 15 rounds of a little tiny box magazine, and the M1 Carbine only weighed like 4 pounds compared to the M1, which was like 8 pounds. And so a lot of times these soldiers, they a lot of times these were found on the front lines, you know, especially with your paratroopers and anyone else that could find them, because they were just really handy. The only problem is that they were really only effective, well, you really cut down on your effective, how far you could effectively shoot the M1 Carbine. The M1 Carbine was reported during the Battle of the Bulge that at 200 yards, soldiers were having a real hard time. Well, maybe not real hard time, but there was reports that these Germans in their super thick, and that's just a little bit of stuck cosmoline that's on there. That's not really rust, so hoping that chemical will eat it and you break it down. No telling where these magazines were at, if they ever actually were issued or surplus or whatever, but at some point, you know, they got cosmoline because they were put in storage for either overseas transportation or never got, you know, just, you know, backups or whatever. But like I was saying, see, that cleaned up real well. I got a little bit of gunk in there I need to get out. But they were reporting that actually German troops were getting shot with the M1 Carbine at distances of 200 yards with their snowsuits, and they would shoot them and they would drop and they'd get back up again, because the slug would knock them down, but it wouldn't penetrate their snowsuits. So at the end of the day, the 30 carbine round it was a nice little round. I mean, it did what it was designed to do, but it was for more close-in engagements. I definitely would have considered carrying one if I had the option, just because of how lightweight they were, and semi-automatic and 15 rounds. And then, you know, from what I was told back in the day, what I can remember, they basically said that it was like a, you know, it's like a 38 caliber bullet coming out like at a, no, it's a 32 caliber bullet coming out at the velocity of a 357. You know, just an interesting little bullet. So we got our feed ramp cleaned up, from what I can tell. Yeah, that's pretty cleaned up. I'll run that screwdriver through there. I'm gonna do my finish rag through there real quick. The floor plate's all cleaned up. It's just hard to get in all these nooks and crannies. No telling how long this dirt's been in here, where it came from. But that's about as clean as it's gonna get. So that's your feed ramp. That's your floor plate. That looks pretty clean. Just gonna wipe that with the finish rag. All right. Now the spring. Now there might be different ways to do it, but there's no rust on there. Just a little bit of gunk I'm gonna wipe off. I'm just gonna run my rag over it real quick. Now there's probably different ways to do this, but for me, I just stretch it out. These springs were really, you don't want to pull them too hard, but yeah, that's about right. That's about right. I feel like I gave it about an extra half an inch, maybe an inch, you know, just so that you got that tension again. That's what you want to do. Let's go back to that magazine. Magazine on the inside, I haven't ran my rag through it yet, I don't think. So let's go ahead and do that. I think I'm gonna take my finish rag and do this. Pretty much just gonna shove it up there with a screwdriver. The M1 Carbine magazine, it's kind of neat, you know, 15 rounder, straight. not curved, like this banana clip, which is, by the way, just so y'all know where I stand on that, this is a magazine, not a clip. But the banana clip, you know, this one right here, this 30 rounder came out pretty much at the very tail end of the war. Came out almost pretty much post-war, and it was designed because later they designed what was called the M2 Carbine, which was a fully automatic version of the M1 Carbine. Very simply, I mean, there's a very simple way, very simple conversion kit that was designed. So this side's pretty good. There's one little spot down here I'm going to clean. Just going to spray that right there like that. Take my steel wool, try to knock that down. And I may be going over the top on these, cleaning them, but I just don't want this rust. I want all this rust to be neutralized and done. So that way when I put them in my ammo box for storage, I'm probably going to put a couple of those little baggies, what do you call that stuff? The silica, what's it called? Or what's it called, honey?
Silica.
Yeah, some of that silica. I'm gonna put some of that silica in there. It'll keep all the moisture out. Just so that, just in that case, so this just so that way any moisture won't get to these magazines and rust them again. I'll probably coat these just a little bit with a little bit of oil, just so that way they'll stay clean. You can see, I don't think that's rust that's coming from the magazine. I think it's just residual gunk that's coming off this steel wool. But I think I've just about got this one done, guys. I'm gonna give this a final wipe down and reassemble, and we'll be good on this one. Yeah, that looks good to me. Hope you guys would consider liking and subscribing to this video. I'm gonna try and start putting out some content, all sorts of kinds of stuff. I'm really big into World War II. Do stuff with the Jeep. Got several weapons, Grands, carbines, 45s, just all sorts of kinds of stuff. I'm gonna start putting some good content out there. This channel is kind of in infancy, but I think you guys are gonna like what I start putting out. So to reassemble this magazine, to put it back together, I'm gonna run your. That's the front, so we're gonna. There we go. Drop that in there. I'm gonna put this side in there that way. Hold that in there with my finger. This is the A. Okay, that little notch right there. This little notch right here will actually go downward, so that way it'll actually click into the magazine. Okay, you're gonna lift up on it and push it in. So that way that little notch will catch on the lip of that part of the magazine, so it won't slide out by accident. So that's about it. I think that magazine cleaned up pretty good. All things considered, I think we're good.